the sun dipped low, painting the skies with hues of crimson and gold, the villagers convened in the square, their laughter ringing against the backdrop of whispering leaves. They adorned their homes with vibrant banners, woven with care, symbols of their shared hopes and dreams. Amidst this lively scene stood the man with the golden teeth, the emblem of their unity and joy. Children, wide-eyed and entranced, perched upon the laps of elders, hanging on every word he uttered, every tale he spun. His voice flowed like the river, rich and melodic, filling the air with adventure and heroism. However, while mirth reigned in the square, a sense of unease simmered beneath the surface. Whispers, light as feathers, floated through the village, carrying tales of unlucky harvests and vanished livestock. Farmers exchanged worried glances as they traded gossip about shadows seen lurking at dusk. Elders, those guardians of ancient wisdom, often caught the flickering gaze of the golden-toothed man, sensing the subtleties that lie beneath his captivating smile. They had learned through the rhythm of the years that what dazzled the eye could also deceive the heart. One evening, as the embers of laughter began to cool, the villagers grew restless. Children clutched their parents' hands, their trust slowly unraveling like yarn from a spindle. The man with the golden teeth sensed the shift, his once sunny demeanor flickering as he glanced over the gathering. He tried to buoy their spirits, recounting victories over mythical beasts and fables of bravery that echoed through generations. Yet with each tale, shadows lengthened, creeping silently among the throng. The golden man's laughter grew strained, his radiant smile flickering like a candle in the wind. The moon hung heavy in the night sky, illuminating the vibrant banners now dulled by uncertainty. As villagers turned cautiously toward the man, the air thickened. A collective realization that their joy had morphed into dependence. It was not just his stories that brought them comfort. It was their belief in him that unified them against the challenges silhouetted against the horizon. But was this bond built on genuine admiration, or was it the gilded illusion of power that lay in his captivating smile? Amidst this contemplative silence, an elder named Mosi stepped forward, his eyes piercing through the veil of charm that cloaked the situation. He spoke of the ancient tales where gifts could also be curses. How the very treasures that sparkled could harbor thorns. The atmosphere grew dense, the weight of his words settling in like a stone in a riverbed, forcing the villagers to examine their hearts honestly. As the flickering light of the fires danced in Mosi's eyes, the reality began to unfold. In that pivotal moment, it transformed from a mere tale of brilliance to a quest for truth. The men with golden smiles were not always heroes, and in the depths of their charisma, an undercurrent of fear could bubble forth unbidden, a force that could bind hearts and unravel destinies. As the rondo of voices faded into contemplative silence, one thing became clear. The golden smile was not just a source of joy, but a challenge to their very foundation, igniting questions of trust, loyalty, and the unyielding nature of their fate. In the quiet town of Arcadia, shadows whispered stories when the sun dipped below the horizon, creating a tapestry of darkened hues across the cobblestone streets. Among these tales, none was as captivating or enigmatic as that of the man with the golden smile. His laughter was a melody that lingered in the air, drawing both admiration and envy from those who witnessed it. The elders spoke of his golden teeth as beacons of a fortune that glinted like sun-kissed coins, yet they warned of the peril that accompanied such gleaming allure. Every Sunday, the townsfolk gathered for market day, their voices rising in a melodic cacophony of bartering and gossip. Among them, the man with the golden smile would weave through the crowd, a figure of cherished mirth and unspoken dread. As children trailed behind him, captivated by the bright shine of his teeth, their parents exchanged cautious glances, recalling the fables spun by firelight about the spirit that had gifted him such a dazzling charm. The spirit, they believed, roamed the fringes of morality, offering bountiful rewards to those pure of heart, yet striking down the greedy with an unrelenting hand. Yet, as each market day dawned, so too did the curious sorts drawn to the man like moths to a flame. Ambitious souls approached him with hopes of snatching a fragment of his fortune, convinced that with just a touch, they could bask in the glow of his luck. These encounters began innocently, a compliment here, a shared laugh there. But soon, the fervent admiration morphed into a relentless desire, a hunger to claim his brilliance as their own. As the weeks turned into months, the once vibrant atmosphere of the marketplace began to warp. The man's laughter echoed less frequently, and the golden smile that once radiated joy started to flicker beneath the weight of unspoken tension. The spirit, once a comforting presence, grew restless with discontent. Silently, it watched as the townspeople's greed fostered jealousy, igniting a darkness that threatened to consume the very joy it had hoped to cultivate. Rumors began to swirl like autumn leaves caught in a tempest, tales of the man's luck turning to wretched fate for those who had dared to covet. The baker who had once produced the finest bread now served loaves that crumbled with despair. The healer, once revered for her remedies, found her potions fizzing and failing, their magic extinguished by the weight of her envy. Each misfortune was attributed to a curse, and soon the once bright market became steeped in a palpable gloom. The man with the golden smile realized the burden of his gift was growing heavier, that the brilliance he wore so lightheartedly was igniting shadows in the hearts of those around him. With each passing day, he wrestled with his festering awareness, pondering what it truly meant to bear such brilliance in a world where light was so often met with darkness. The spirit's gift, it seemed, had become both a blessing and a curse, entwined in a dance that only fate could orchestrate. As the sun dipped below the horizon each evening, casting long shadows over the village, an unsettling silence descended. The laughter and joyous chatter that once filled the air had been supplanted by anxious whispers and furrowed brows. Elders gathered around the old well, their voices low and grave, sharing stories of bygone days when the golden smile had shone like a beacon of hope. Now, it seemed, that light was extinguished, leaving only a cold, creeping darkness in its place. Every morning, the village rose to the lingering scent of damp earth and decay. Crops that had once flourished, under the sun's warm gaze, now lay limp and lifeless, as if drained of vitality. It was a living testament to their fading fortunes. Even the fields, which typically burst with vibrant colors, now looked like a patchwork of muted greens and browns, a reflection of their collective malaise. The villagers, once so proud of their harvests, now stooped with worry as they meandered through rows of despondent plants, eyes cast downward, hoping for even the smallest tender sprout to emerge, as if it could somehow salvage their spirits. The livestock, once lively and robust, mirrored the state of the fields. Cows that once bellowed with the vigor of youth now lay listless, their eyes dull and lifeless. Goats that had frolicked playfully grazed in silence, no longer climbing the rocky outcrops as they had before, and the chickens, which had filled the air with cheerful clucks, produced fewer eggs each day. Mothers and fathers exchanged troubled glances in the fading twilight, their children's. Laughter diminished to a mere echo of what it once was. The villagers depended on these animals, and with each sick day passed, their livelihood slipped further from their grasp. Rumors swirled like autumn leaves caught in a cold breeze. As speculation mounted, they began to connect the dots. Could it be that the man with the dazzling teeth, once revered as a guardian of fortune, had turned? Had he perhaps drawn the village's joy and prosperity to himself, leaving only shadows of what had been? The enchanting allure of the golden smile now twisted into something much darker. Their fears morphed him from a symbol of abundance into a harbinger of doom, an insidious figure lurking just outside their realm of understanding. Children who had once begged for stories of the man and his smile retreated to their homes, eyes wide with fear, distilling the narratives into monstrous tales. They spoke of coy glances and hidden treasures that reminded them more of warning signs than of dreams. To them, the man's grin seemed to mock their plight, a glint of gold that felt like a taunt against their suffering. The very air thickened with foreboding, and as nightfall cloaked the village, shadows loomed larger and darker in their imaginations. In their quest for understanding, villagers turned to the elements, seeking signs in the patterns of nature. They recalled the omens from seasons past, the old wisdom that had guided their ancestors. But now, even the skies seemed to conspire against them. The clouds hung heavy with rain that would not fall, and a stifling heat that suffocated any glimmer of comfort. Each day became a ritual of despair, punctuated by the silent acknowledgement that something had irrevocably shifted in their lives. And with that knowledge, the weight of inevitability settled over them like a shroud. As twilight descended upon the village, the air thickened with a mixture of hope and dread. Lanterns flickered to life, casting elongated shadows that intertwined, like the conflicting feelings of the villagers. They gathered around the square, a highly charged assembly, their faces alight with a blend of skepticism and curiosity. The fires crackled softly, as if whispering secrets to those willing to listen. At the center of it all stood the stranger, a figure draped in a cloak that shimmered faintly, hinting at mysteries that lay just beyond comprehension. He was speaking of old rites and incantations, his voice smooth as silk, yet steady, carrying a weight that seemed to draw in even the most resistant souls. The villagers shifted, their whispers becoming a low hum, each word laced with incredulity. How had this man, appearing so suddenly, acquired knowledge of their age-old suffering? What made him different from the countless others who had spun tales of mirth, only to abandon them to despair? The questions clung to the evening air, refusing to dissipate. In the midst of the gathering, Alice stood frozen, her heart fluttering like a trapped bird within her chest. Her grandmother had spoken of a time when their village flourished, a time when joy was not a fleeting memory shadowed by a relentless curse. Alice had believed she would never see such a time again, but here was a man whose words painted a landscape of redemption, a vision she could hardly fathom yet desperately craved. The temptation to believe was intoxicating, yet suspicion coated her thoughts as thickly as the night's veil. "Why should we trust you?" A voice broke through the murmur, belonging to Linus, a grizzled villager whose brow was heavily furrowed with uncertainty. The crowd quieted, tension blooming in the air. "You come unannounced, speaking of ancient rites and healing powers. How do we know this isn't just another trick to lead us astray?" His words ignited another wave of dissent among the villagers, each heart weighing the cost of faith against the toll of their despair. "Because," the stranger replied, his eyes gleaming with an inner light, "I am here not for fame or fortune, but to fulfill a pact long overdue." The breathless silence that followed seemed almost sacred, each soul gripping the gravity of his admission. "The curse you bear is tied to an ancient imbalance, one that can only be restored through unity and sacrifice." A murmuration of disbelief and wonder coursed through the villagers, as flashes of possibilities flickered in their minds. The idea of sacrifice, mentioned together with hope, stirred unease. What? Would they be asked to relinquish? Many of them had already sacrificed too much. The boundaries of trust wavered precariously as some began to weigh the implications of the stranger's proposition, contemplating whether to cling to the shackles of fear or embrace the morsels of hope he offered. In that moment, the juxtaposition of past suffering and the flicker of redemption lingered in the cool night air. The villagers caught in the tumult of their own tangled thoughts. They were perched at the edge of an abyss, the choice ahead uncertain. A decision that could either bring them back to their lost smiles or plunge them into darkness once more. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting a golden hue across the village, a palpable tension settled in the air. The villagers gathered at the foot of the ancient oak, their hearts beating as one, ready to confront the man of golden teeth. Whispers rippled through the crowd, weaving a tapestry of shared fears, aspirations, and the insecurities that draped over them like heavy cloaks. They stood shoulder to shoulder, feeble yet formidable, buoyed by the shared weight of their collective experience. The man emerged from the shadows, his golden teeth glinting in the fading light. Yet today, they seemed to hold less power. He presented himself as an ordinary man steeped in human flaws rather than a figure of unattainable wisdom. His presence was both imposing and relatable, eliciting a blend of reverence and skepticism from the villagers. With every step he took, each footfall echoed their uncertainties, but within that discomfort lay an opportunity for metamorphosis. As he began to speak, his voice resonated with a raw authenticity that captivated the villagers. You view these teeth as symbols of wealth and wisdom, but they are merely reflections of your own hidden treasures. The man paused, allowing his words to seep into their hearts. It is not the gold that brings joy, but the connections we forge through laughter and tears. He stood there, revealing the humanity behind his prized possessions. In that moment of vulnerability, the villagers began to see their own reflections in him, recognizing their shared flaws, doubt, jealousy, and pride. One by one, the villagers began to voice their experiences, sharing stories of how the allure of wealth had driven wedges between friends and families. A woman stepped forward, her voice steady despite the tremble in her hands. We chased the glimmer of gold, thinking it would fill the void, yet it only deepened our isolation. Her admission prompted a cascade of confessions, and as they spoke, the air grew thick with acknowledgement. It wasn't the gold that had caused their strife, but the distractions it created, pulling them away from what truly mattered. With each revelation, a sense of liberation washed over the crowd. They began to understand that the foundation of their community had always been love and support, rather than riches or status. By that electric moment where vulnerability met resilience, a collective sigh escaped their lips, a release of burdens they had carried for far too long. The man of golden teeth listened intently, a soft smile playing on his lips, grateful for the transformation unfolding before him. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, bathing them all in twilight, something beautiful began to bloom among the villagers. The realization was simple yet profound. The magic they sought lay not in the man or his golden smile, but in their ability to stand united, embracing their flaws and celebrating the connections they had nearly forsaken. They slowly came to grips with the truth. The real treasure lay in their hearts, in the bonds that could never tarnish, growing stronger with every shared story and every heartfelt apology. As the dawn broke over the village, vibrant hues spilled across the horizon, dancing with a gentle warmth that caressed the hearts of every villager. It was a light that spoke of new beginnings, washing away the shadows of yesterday. The man, now embracing his role with a renewed spirit, gathered his neighbors in the square, their tired faces brightening as they sensed the change in the air. No longer did his once glimmering smile cast shadows of envy. Instead, it became a beacon of possibility that united them in shared purpose. The villagers, once solitary in their struggles, began to come together. With each shared meal, laughter resonated through the air, and joyous eyes sparkled like constellations against the ever-clear sky. They built bridges forged not of wood or stone, but of understanding, trust, and reciprocity. They recalled tales from the past, stories that had been passed down through generations, and found a common thread of resilience woven into their history. With this newfound realization, they began to explore the potential that lay dormant within their community, buried beneath layers of doubt and resentment. The man, with his golden smile, transformed his home into a gathering place where dreams took flight. Ideas soared in the air, intricately weaving aspirations and desires into a vibrant tapestry of community life. Children with hesitant voices unveiled their ambitions to be artists and storytellers, while their elders, once quiet with the weight of their experiences, shared their wisdom, nurturing the seedlings of hope sprouting in the hearts of the young. The collective energy pulsed with urgency, each person's contribution vital to the unfolding narrative of their lives. Together, they painted murals on the barn walls, depicting vibrant scenes of unity, hands reaching toward one another and flowers sprouting from the cracks of the earth. The transformation became a communal endeavor, each brushstroke infused with love, laughter, and dreams cultivated through their unity. The man guided them, using his golden smile to inspire courage, urging them to believe in the beauty of what they could create together. As time flowed, the villagers began to recognize the invisible ties that bound them. They shared the burdens of loss, celebrated the quiet victories of perseverance, and realized that their strength blossomed through collaboration. Feeling empowered, they devised plans to enhance their lives. A communal garden sprung up, bringing fresh produce for everyone, while workshops blossomed that invited the skills of craftspeople and storytellers alike. The village transformed into a hub of creativity and innovation, as each individual contributed their unique gifts. Every sunset painted the village with the golden light of community spirit, embers of hope sparking a hunger for more. They had discovered that the heart of their greatest treasure lay not in individual pursuits, but in a shared dream deeply rooted in solidarity. With every passing day, the villagers grew closer, forging unbreakable bonds that unified them toward a collective vision as they danced joyfully in the luminous embrace of a new dawn.